Imagine a time when death moved faster than the wind. Entire towns vanished in weeks. Bells rang endlessly for the dead until no one was left to ring them. The year was 1347, and a silent killer swept across Europe, Asia, and Africa. It would claim more lives than any war, any disaster, any plague in history. They called it the Black Death. But how did one mysterious disease wipe out nearly 200 million people? And how did it reshape the entire world we live in today? The story begins far from Europe, in the vast grasslands of Central Asia. Historians believe the plague started here, spreading silently through fleas carried by rats. It moved along the Great Silk Road, the same trade network that brought silk, spices, and treasures now carrying death. By 1347, ships from the Black Sea brought the plague to the ports of Italy. From there, the infection exploded like wildfire. Genoa, Venice, Florence, one by one, cities fell. Within months, the plague crossed borders, moving faster than any army. What made it so terrifying was its speed and cruelty. Victims developed dark swellings in their armpits and groin, called buboes. Fever burned their bodies. Within days, most were dead. Some accounts even say people were healthy at breakfast and dead by nightfall. Now, imagine this. You're a villager in 1348. Your neighbor dies suddenly. Then your family. Soon, no priest will bury the bodies. No doctor dares to enter your home. Fear spreads even faster than the plague. By 1349, the Black Death swept through France, Germany, and England. In London, carts piled high with corpses rolled through the streets. Graveyards overflowed. Some towns lost over half their population. Whole villages disappeared from the map. The numbers are almost beyond imagination, between 75 to 200 million dead across Europe, Asia, and Africa. In some regions, 2 out of every 3 people were gone. But the Black Death was more than a disease. It reshaped history. It broke down the old feudal system. With so many dead, peasants were suddenly valuable. Survivors demanded higher wages, better rights, and more freedom. It weakened the power of the church. People began questioning how such suffering could exist if God was watching over them. It even sparked innovation. Shortages of workers forced people to invent new farming tools, new trade methods, and eventually new ideas that led Europe toward the Renaissance. Yet, it also unleashed darker forces. Terrified and desperate, some communities blamed minorities, outsiders, and strangers. In some places, Jewish communities were brutally massacred, accused of poisoning wells. Fear turned to violence, leaving scars that lasted for centuries. Engagement moment. Pause for a moment. If you lived in that time, would you try to escape, hide, or fight to survive? What would you do if death seemed to touch every door? The Black Death also left its mark on culture. Art and literature became obsessed with death. Paintings of dancing skeletons, poems about graves, and stories of doom spread everywhere. It was as if the whole world had been forced to look into the face of mortality and could never forget it. And the plague didn't vanish. Outbreaks returned again and again for centuries. Even today, the bacterium Yersinia pestis, the same one that caused the Black Death, still exists. Modern medicine has tamed it with antibiotics, but the memory of those dark years remains etched in human history. The Black Death was not just a tragedy, it was a turning point. It destroyed lives, but also transformed societies. It ended an old world and began the path to a new one. In just a few years, one tiny microbe reminded humanity of its greatest weakness and its greatest strength, survival. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more.